Hi, everybody. Meteorologist Joe Rayo here at the home base in Putnam Valley. It's just a little bit after 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday, the 16th of January. Quite an interesting thing just happened in the last 15 or 20 minutes. We had a moderate to heavy burst of sleet. Yes, not hail, but sleet that fell here. It came down heavy enough to actually whiten the blacktop driveway here. The precipitation is over now, but it must have been a very, very uh, concentrated area because actually I was tipped off to it by my wife. She was about a couple of miles away and she was in the car. She calls me up and she said, "What the heck is this?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "The sleet. It's coming down like I've never seen it come down before." Looked out my window, didn't see anything. Then within a few seconds, I saw maybe a couple of pellets come down. I said, "Oh, that's hardly doing anything here." But whatever she was running through suddenly came up into my neck of the woods. And within a matter of 2 or 3 minutes, it was coming down sleet wise to beat the band. Now the sun is coming back out. And I guess this is pretty much going to be the end of the precipitation. I haven't had a chance yet to take a look at the latest radar, but I'm looking for generally an improving weather pattern with skies becoming mainly clear later on tonight. The winds, well, you know that they have been very fierce, gusting at times to over 40 miles an hour. We've had a wind advisory in place. Chill factors today, even though the temperatures were mostly in the 30s to near 40, it felt a lot more like they were in the 20s with those gusty, stinging winds. Cold night coming up overnight tonight, still rather windy and blustery. Tomorrow, we're looking for a sunny start to the day. And I do believe that what we're going to be seeing tomorrow will be just downright cold, downright frigid. We're looking for temperatures in many spots tomorrow, not making it above the freezing mark. Teens for a wind chill tomorrow. Then it'll begin to cloud up later tomorrow night. And then we set the stage for what we think will be an important system on Saturday. Right now, what I think is going to happen on Saturday is that the air overhead is going to be so cold and so dry initially that precipitation will try to get in here before noontime on Saturday, but will not have very much success in penetrating this very dry air mass that's over us. I think it's not going to be until sometime, perhaps around noon at the earliest, and that would be over western sections of the Hudson Valley, maybe holding off until as late as 2 or 3 in the afternoon before we begin to see snow make it all the way down to the ground. What we call prior to noontime, what we would call virga, where the snow is coming down but evaporating before getting all the way down to the ground because of the dryness of the air. And I honestly do believe that's what we're going to see for a while on Saturday, late morning and midday. In fact, I wouldn't even be surprised if you wake up early on Saturday, there may even be some sunshine to start the day, dimly visible through a thickening layer of clouds. But if you're doing anything on Saturday, and if you're concerned about snow or any kind of frozen precipitation, don't be up until noontime, because I think the morning till about noon should be dry. Then in that 3 hour time frame from noon to 3 o'clock, the atmosphere should eventually moisten up and allow for the snow to make its way all the way down to the surface. And since it's so very, very cold, or will be very, very cold tomorrow night into Saturday morning, temperatures Saturday morning will range through the single digits and teens. No question about it. Once the snow begins, however lightly or however steadily, every flake is going to stick. And so we will begin with some accumulating snow for the midday or early afternoon on Saturday, and that'll continue through the rest of the afternoon. Now, temperatures on Saturday, the winds are going to be turning into a southerly and southeasterly direction during the afternoon. And I do believe that's going to start the trend toward a rise in the temperature. And we're going to see temperatures slowly climb through the 20s into and perhaps even through the 30s south of Interstate 287. I think that we're going to see by mid or late afternoon the precipitation change over to just plain rain. Elsewhere north of 287, it'll continue as snow, but it may be a kind of a wet kind of snow, a clingy, slushy, wet type of snow. And it's a fast mover. This system coming in, I'm thinking that we may actually put an end to all the precipitation be it rain or snow, by mid or late evening on Saturday. So by 9, 10, 11 o'clock, we may be pretty much over and done with the precipitation. So whatever we can put down between roughly noon or 1 o'clock in the afternoon to about 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening, during that 8 or 9 hour time frame, that's what we're going to see in terms of snow accumulations. I'm thinking right now for places south of 287 and down, especially toward the Bronx border and across the Sound Shore, an inch or maybe two of slushy wet snow. And as you go further north of 287, 2, 3, and possibly all the way up to the I-84 corridor, maybe as much as 4 inches of snow. So you can see that this is not going to be a crippling type of snowfall, but the most significant snow that we have seen around here in more than a month. Remember the last time we had a significant snowfall? Well, back in early December 1st, we had that snow which dumped, generally speaking, 4 to 5 or even 6 inches across parts of our area. In fact, in portions of Orange County, there was almost close to a foot of snow, if you remember. Up further north on the Thruway, Albany had like 22 inches. We have had hardly anything since that big storm that kicked off December. So this is going to be, again, the first real significant fall of snow or frozen precipitation that we've had in a while. If you don't count also that snow squall that hit the tri-state area, I think it was on the 18th of December. But this upcoming event on Saturday will be somewhat significant. And again, I think most, if not all of it, is going to come after the noon hour on Saturday and pretty well be over with by mid or late evening Saturday night. Now, Sunday should be another gusty, windy day out there, at least breezy, with kind of a mixed bag of cloud and sunshine. And temperatures on Sunday probably will get to above freezing, probably mid to upper 30s, maybe even in some spots getting close to 40. Once the sun goes down on Sunday evening and the temperatures fall to below freezing, that's going to be it. We're going to see below freezing temperatures almost constantly through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, possibly even next Thursday as well, and maybe even next Friday. It's going to be a cold week, but it's going to be a dry week next week. We're going to have copious sunshine much of the time next week, dry with clear skies for the most part, maybe a patchy cloud or two here and there. But I honestly don't see any precipitation coming our way through all of next week. Next chance for any precip after we get past Saturday may not come until, guess what? The following Saturday. That would be Saturday the 25th. And believe it or not, after a long stretch of cold weather, we may actually warm enough so that when the next storm comes a week from this Saturday, that it may be more wet than white. That's still early in the ballgame to make a pronouncement like that. And I really am ashamed of myself for saying that, because I always preach that much beyond 4 or 5 days, it's really more guesswork than anything else. But we'll see. Right now, I think, though, I'm very confident to tell you that much, if not all, of next week is going to be dry and cold with temperatures below normal, and especially so well below normal, very cold temperatures during the nighttime hours of next week. Okay, let's put the spectacles on and see who we have on the chat board right now. We have Tim Beltman, who says that up in the Albany area, he had roughly 1.5 inches of snow last night, some decent snow squalls this afternoon in Albany. I'll tell you what, Tim, I could have had a snow squall about 15 or 20 minutes ago, but it wasn't warm enough, I guess, in the column, the air column, to allow for it to fall as snow. Again, it was more sleet than anything else, pellets of ice. My wife, in fact, said that she was going to get her iPhone out and take pictures and show how it looks on the deck. On my wooden deck, it looks like somebody sprayed out a bunch of sleet pellets, roughly the size of peas, on my wooden deck. They're still out there, I think. And if my wife got a good image of it, I'll post it on my Facebook page shortly. David Carter, we've had light showers of sleet and now light snow in flurries and partly cloudy skies. Russ LaChaparelle, Joe, Saturday I'm going to take down the rest of your Christmas stuff you missed. Well, I'll tell you what, the only Christmas stuff that I have not taken down yet has been inside. The tree is still up inside, both in the living room and also in the TV viewing room. and eventually we're going to get around to taking those down as well. You know, when I was a very young boy, my grandmother never took the tree down until her birthday, and her birthday was January 31st. By the way, how many of you remember? And this is a line from the Charlie Brown Christmas special when Lucy tells Charlie Brown, "Get out and get a big, bright shiny aluminum Christmas tree." Well, guess what? When I was growing up in Throgs Neck, that's what we had. We had an aluminum Christmas tree, and we made it change color using a color wheel: blue, orange, green, and red. The wheel would turn round and round. There was a light bulb behind the wheel of colors. We just aimed it toward the aluminum tree, and the tree would change from orange to blue to red to green. It was great. I personally didn't think it was so bad, but the traditionalists out there saying, "You got an aluminum tree? How could that be rare?" So when I when I got older and we got married, we actually originally we did get a real live tree for several years. Now we have a tree that looks pretty much like a live tree, but it's artificial. But it's not the aluminum tree. And I'm told now, if you wanted to get an aluminum Christmas tree, it's going to cost you a pretty penny. I'm told that you would have to spend upwards to $400 or $500 for the aluminum tree. I'm not even going to try to think about how much it would cost to get the color wheel to make the tree turn colors. But anyway, still a little bit of Christmas upstairs in the house for the moment. Tim Belton says, "I'm thinking maybe 4 to 5 inches at most in Albany. Too many hindrances for this storm to make much." Well, Tim, if you looked on my YouTube page, my Facebook page, I should say, I did post my map of where I think snow amounts are going to be, and not too far away from Albany. I posted it mostly to the east of the Albany area is a zone of about 4 to 6 inches. I wasn't too sure whether or not Albany might have a little bit of sleet mixing in. There might even be some sleet in the lower Hudson Valley toward the end, but a full change over to plain rain, which would really hold accumulations down, I think will stay just to the south of I-287. Russ LaChapelle says, "Here near Albany, all of the snow that fell has melted." And James says, "I am forecasted to get about 8 inches in Pontiac, Michigan." Lovely place to be if you like snow, in the Pontiac, Michigan range. Anyway, that's some vintage decorating right there, Joe. Yeah, vintage decorating with the aluminum tree. Anyway, that's pretty much what I think. The story goes: unsettled with some flaky weather, maybe a little wet south of 287, a few inches of slush possible when it's all over said and done, and then windy weather for Sunday. How many times have I said that? Windy weather the last couple of weeks. Windy weather, partial sun on Sunday, and then just cold, very cold, and dry for much, if not all, of next week. Tim says we need to watch for downsloping off the Catskills. That's supposed to dry out the air and shut off the snow early. And it could very well do that, Tim. Again, I think on Saturday we'll be seeing winds coming out of a southeasterly direction for a good part of the afternoon. And basically what's going to shut the snow off is the fact that we are going to have, if this storm, and we've been talking about one storm going to the Great Lakes, a second storm forming off of southern New England, but it looks like that second storm is going to take its sweet time in developing and finally revving up. And by the time that happens, it'll be long gone. The primary system passing to our north and west will probably drag a cold front across eastern New York come Saturday evening, and that cold frontal passage is probably going to shut the snow off and turn the winds into a west-northwest direction. So that, I think, is what's ultimately going to put an end to the precipitation. And again, if things really move with this, again, we may have only 8 or 9 hours of precipitation on Saturday, maybe even less than that, and not too much time. I mean, really, if you wanted a heavy dose of snow, you'd have to have it coming down, at the rate of a half or 1 inch an hour. I don't think it's going to be coming down much more than a quarter to an inch an hour, even in the most favored locations. Again, maybe a few inches. We'll see how it all pans out. Tomorrow, I'll have a better look at what we can expect. And tonight on Joe Chiaffe's YouTube channel, The Joe and Joe Show at 7 o'clock, as we have been doing for many evenings now. And for all of you who are watching, tell your friends, please subscribe to this channel, the Joe Rayo Weather YouTube channel right here on YouTube. Now I'm going to shut it down right now. I thank you all for watching very much, and we'll be back with you again with Joe and Joe at 7 o'clock tonight, and back here again tomorrow, probably around the same time. You have a very good afternoon and evening. Jeffrey Mayer, thank you for watching. We'll see you at 7 o'clock, and the same to you, Russ and Timothy, and one and all. Have a good one, everybody.